Hello, and thank you for joining this online demonstration of SmartFarm Systems. Today I'll be giving you a basic overview of some of the services that we provide. Currently we're focusing on 4 specialized services, which are on-site feed bin monitoring, on-site alarm monitoring, livestock performance tracking, and feed mill integration. Before we jump into the software, I'd like to point out these key features. Our services are 100% cloud-based, which means you have no installations and no maintenance on your side. You can access the services through any web-activated devices. You have the ability to add many different users. There are many different user levels that you can set up. We're focusing on automated processes, and we're always adding new features and options. As you can see right now, I'm on the main site, smartfarmsystems.com. Simply click on the login button and it'll bring you to the user login screen, where you will select your company, input your user ID and your password. One thing I'd like to point out is our site uses a secure connection on all pages and inputs, meaning that your data is 100% secure traveling over the internet. When the user logs in, they'll be presented with their user portal. This is set up and customized to the user and only displays items that the administrator has given the user rights to see. This user is an administrator, so they also can manage other user accounts. I'll quickly go in and show you how to manage other user accounts. Here you'll see the admin portal with all the users listed for this company and the basic overview of those users. To view the details of any certain user, just go ahead and click on the user you want to view, and a pop-up will come up with all the user details. You can make any changes to the user you want, save those changes, or simply go ahead and close out. To create a new user, simply click Create New User, fill out the appropriate fields, and save those settings. Going back to the portal, I will now go into the My Settings, which every user has access to. This will show the user their personal settings that they can adjust for all the different types of services. Once again, we'll go back to the user portal. Two things I want to point out real quick before we dive into some of the more extensive services are the web forms and the company overview. These are two really neat functions that we offer. The web forms being really quick entry forms that users can customize and submit to track data from the field, and the company overview being all your farm sites mapped out on Google Maps. Here you'll see this example company having 5 different locations. You can click on all the different sites to bring up their address, farm contacts, manager information. You also can click on the links to zoom to that specific location on the map. You also have the option to switch from the map view to the surface view, and also to switch back. Clicking the home button brings you back to your initial screen where you have all your farm sites, and you also have the option to get directions to those locations using Google Maps. So a lot of really neat features built in using Google Maps and putting all your different farm sites on a map so you can logistically see where they're all located. Feed bin monitoring is the first service I'll go over today. Some basic overviews of it. It's a very simple installation on any bin type. Allows for real-time inventory levels from any farm site that it's installed. Stores up to 40 days of history. Makes for ordering feed off-site very easy. Allows for feed delivery validation. And also catches feed outages and unusual usage. So if I mouse over to the bin readings module, I'll jump into it. Here you see a very basic overview of all the different sites with their barns and bins, also the inventory levels, and some very basic overview stats for the bins. Notice that you can simply mouse over any one of the bins and you will have a pop-up window of the hourly details for that bin. To get a little more details, we can select a specific site by either using the drop-down list or by clicking on the farm name itself. I'll use the drop-down list. This page only shows the details for the selected site. Note the livestock group information on the page. This is available when both the feed bin module is being used as well as the livestock management module. You'll see that we tie a bunch of our modules together by displaying the information from multiple modules on similar pages. Once again, you can mouse over the bins to get the hourly history. Also mapped out below is the daily usage along with the current inventory level for that barn. Notice if you mouse over the dots, the specific information is shown. We can also change this 7-day graph into a graph showing up to 40 days. The feed bin module comes with a few preset alarms built in, high feed usage, critical barns, and warning barns. I'll check on those. Currently it looks like there's only one warning barn, which means the feed expected outage will happen within the next 48 hours based on the daily usage and the current inventory. Critical barns are barns that will run out within 24 hours. The high usage barns are barns which are experiencing unusually high feed usage. We also give the user some details about when there are some problems with their bin sensors, how to correct those issues, and we also monitor dormant bins, which are bins that have not been below 1/3 the capacity in the last 15 days. Another thing we offer is automated alerts that go out when feed deliveries or these high usage alarms go off. Each individual user can set up their own preferences to receive these delivery alerts and or high feed usage alerts. So that pretty much sums up the quick overview of the feed bin inventory tracking. Next, we'll take a quick look at the alarm monitoring systems. Our system has a very simple plug-and-play installation. Our alarm units are pulled multiple times a day to check that they are working correctly. There's no need for battery backups as we monitor the power statuses of our alarm units. You can receive text messages, emails, and or phone alerts when an alarm goes off, and we do support multiple vendors. And now I'll show you a little bit of the alarm interface. These top settings are for administrators only. There's a company-wide testing mode in which we can put all the alarms into a testing mode and send all the alerts just to one contact. Also, we can set up administrators to receive notifications when changes are made to alarm systems. Here you'll see a list of all the different sites. with their alarm units, the unit status, along with its power check settings. I'll go ahead and jump into this alarm unit and show you the configuration for it. This alarm unit has 6 zones which are fully configurable. Currently 3 of them are used for temperature with high and low points set. The other 3 zones are currently not being used. This alarm unit has the ability to be configured for multiple different alarm inputs. And here you'll see the current values for that zone along with the last alarm status and a few other options to configure this zone. Jumping back to the alarm unit page, I'll show you the contact information for this alarm unit. Here's a sample contact list. You have the ability to program up to 16 contacts. Like I said before, text, email, or phone calls. And at the bottom of the page you also have the ability to send out test phone calls and test text messages and or emails. The power check option allows for users to power down a site without getting numerous alarms that they've lost power. However, the user will still get one notification when the power is either lost and or comes back online, even if this is disabled. That wraps up a quick look at the alarm systems. The next 2 services I'll be going over are pretty extensive on the software side, so I'll be giving you a brief overview of each of them. The first is the livestock performance tracking. This system tracks all livestock movements. It gives you real-time group inventory, complete group performance information, very detailed reports, and it also allows for imports for both expenses and market receipts. You have the ability to get to the livestock module in 2 different locations, one up here in the quick launch bar, and then from your portal there's also this icon. Here the user will be presented with a list of events that they can access. All of this will be based on that user's accessibility level. I'll first show you the administrator interface. This is where all your setup is done for all your farm locations, livestock classes, freight companies, genetics, markets, mortality codes that you could have in the system. Just basically your setup for everything in the system. I'll quickly show you some of the livestock species that we have set up currently in our test system. Notice for this livestock species we do have the ability to have auto mortality being tracked. Also we have cost information for these type of animals, expected days to market, and then we also have the feed budget for the group. Here's the farm locations that I showed you before. Just some basic settings that you can have. Contact information for the farm site, the location, the latitude and longitude that allows for us to place the farm on Google Maps, the barn information, feed bins attached to that barn, Next, I'll show you an overview of all the groups in the system. For this test database, here are all the open groups. Notice all the tables in our system are fully sortable by clicking on the top of the bar, and you also can multi-sort 2 different columns or 3 different columns, however you want to do it. To take a closer look at one of these groups, I can simply click on the group. I'll have another tab pop open, and this gives me all of my detailed information for this specific group. Since I am an administrator, I'll see all the details for the group. Here are all the details that I can physically edit. There are also a lot of options on this page where I can view the mortality for the group. As you can see, this group has auto mortality set up in it. Also, I can view different group events that were tracked. Currently, this group doesn't have any group events in its history. I can quickly transfer, in this case, pigs into this group or out of this group, or I can mark it out of this group. Here's the transfer history for this group. You'll see that the status is complete. Here's the head, the date, total pounds, average weight. Here are my starting locations and my ending locations. My ending locations being this group. So the group we're currently looking at is a finisher, and these would be the nurseries that the pigs were transferred from. Marketing history, there's no marketing history for this group yet. Here in our test database, the feed imports for this group obviously don't match up to the feed budget. That's why the budgets look a little bit off. Here is the feed budget with the previous group's feed. Basically that means any groups that became part of this finishing group, you would see the nursery feed included into this. So you'd have a full feed budget from wean to finish. And then down below here are your recent feed orders for this specific group. Next, I can show you how to make a transfer. Here's our transfer screen, which a lot of our screens look like this for transferring and marketing and making feed orders. If I wanted to schedule a transfer, all of our menus have autocomplete capabilities on them. Once I select a group, you'll notice the top group summary gets filled with the information from that specific group that we selected. So you can see this group currently has marketed head out of it, and the starting group for the transfer doesn't. So I can jump back and forth between my different groups, make sure I have both of them selected. I look at the numbers of the current head. I can pick a company for my freight. And I have an additional comment field where I can leave a comment if I want to. So that's how we schedule a transfer. I then can jump to the Livestock schedule page. Here are all of my scheduled transfers. I can use these filters up here to sort through what I'm seeing. So I'm going to look for that scheduled transfer that I just entered into the system. So I can select the group, filter my results. Here's that schedule that I put out there for that transfer. If I want to edit it or delete it, I can simply check on it, edit selected, and I can go ahead and change my numbers to whatever I need them to be. Resubmit it. Or what I can do is I can complete this transfer, meaning it actually happened. Once you complete a transfer, it's going to ask you for your total weight. I don't know my total weight, but I know the average weight. I can click on calculate and it'll calculate my total pounds for me. And I can submit this. And that's how easy a livestock transfer is. The livestock marketing movements work basically the same way, so I won't show you that. Importing data. We have the ability to import data from feed mills. Basically, we take any type of import file that feed mill offers and match that up to the groups. We also have the ability to import market receipts. So any type of sales receipts that you get from your groups, we can import that and match them up to the groups that they came from. Ordering feed is another feature we have in the system. If I go ahead and bring up one of my groups, if I have the feed bin module and feed bin sensors located on that farm site, the feed bins will pop up right here like they do on the other pages, and I'll be able to see my inventory of feed on that farm site. So I can go ahead and make my feed order for this group directly looking at the inventory on the farm site. So if I pull up another group, you'll see the feed bin information has changed. So if I click between the two, and also you'll see some recommendations for what I should be feeding this group next based on the budget that it's currently on. The system recommends that I feed it finisher 1B. This group is a little farther ahead and it's recommending finisher 3. I can assign different bins for my drivers. I also can put an additional comment for my drivers. And I can also adjust the feed budget if I want to from this screen. There are many different reports that can be run from this system. Right now we currently offer a few, but we're always expanding these. We can get current inventory numbers with financial information for each group. We can get group feed summaries. We can send out marketing emails based on our marketing schedule to the freight companies, the packing plants, and the farm contacts that are involved in those groups. We also can do that with our transfers that we have scheduled. And we also have the ability to look at the finished group's performance numbers. Many of these different reports have the ability to save and auto-generate these reports, meaning you can schedule them to run on certain days and times of the week or month. You can add up to 10 different emails per auto report that you generate. Once it's set up, the system will automatically generate the report and send it to the emails that were entered into this report. Our livestock tracking system is much more in depth than what I just covered right now, but for the sake of time I'll move on to our feed mill integration package. The feed mill integration package is the final service that I'll be going over today. It supports full POS and AR solutions for feed mills, has the ability to generate invoices and statements, receive payments, manage inventory, generate feed orders for livestock groups, automates the process of creating a feed order, sending it to the feed mill, then also getting information from the feed mill and putting it back into the system. And it also has a full set of POS and AR reports. Once again, you can access the mill's module from the top quick launch bar or by the mill manager button. This module works much like the livestock module where you're presented with a drop down of options. I'll first show you the admin interface. The first thing you'll be presented with in the admin portal is the customers. You can quickly jump into a customer, see their basic information, some banking information if you're receiving ACH payments from them. You can add customer personnel, meaning only certain people will be allowed to check out through the point of sale. The different accounts this customer has. A customer can have multiple accounts at one mill, or they can have multiple accounts at multiple different mills that we have set up in the system. We have contracts that we can add to the customer's accounts, meaning a customer can have contracted pricing for an item, a recipe, or a single ingredient. I'll also take a look at the items. Here we have all the items for one of our mills. If I jump into an item, I can see the basic information. I can have adder items, meaning if you sell an item at point of sale, it'll automatically add another item that usually is sold with that item. Lot numbers, we do lot tracking and keep all historical information for where the lots were sold to and when they were used. And you also can set up an item as a blended item, meaning it's the product of two or more items blended together. Also, we have the ability to set up different customer terms, different item codes, our different mills, price structures for those items, and also vendors that we're receiving our items from. Next, I'll show you the sales interface. The pricing information automatically gets put in. You can go ahead and set a customer. You have the ability to clear the items out, clear the whole invoice and start over, total your invoices for a quick total, or go ahead and process this invoice. This screen will tell you your total for this transaction before it's finalized. If everything looks right, you can simply confirm and complete the sale. If not, you have the ability to go back and edit the transaction. If I go ahead and set my customer to a cash account and I process this invoice, you'll have a calculator here for making change. Also, I can add the taxes, or say this customer is tax exempt. I can go ahead and calculate the totals. I can click the X to clear items. And if I want to start my invoice completely over, I can clear the whole invoice out. If I don't know the item code, I can bring this window up and sort through my items. Maybe I know the description, or I want to look at all the products that we have that are in the cattle feed product code. Simply select an item and it automatically gets put onto my line. There are a lot more detailed functions that we can do at the point of sale screen, but I don't have the time to go over them all today. Going back to my main screen, I can view invoices. I have the ability to filter all my invoices if I want to only see the ones for a certain account. And let's put a date range on this. I can pop up my invoice and see the details of that invoice. I can resend an e-invoice, which will get emailed to the customer, or I can download my own copy of the invoice. I can issue a refund, and I also can split this invoice between customers or livestock groups. I also can view statements in the exact same way. I can see that these statements were automatically emailed when they were created to this email account. I can pull up a statement and I can resend the statement if I want, download the statement, or just look at the details myself. Payments work the same way. The reports, currently I don't have any auto reports set up, but there are many different reports that I can run with different filters. I can tailor the reports for specific mills, date ranges, accounts, include financial information or not, and also include invoice details on this report if I want to or not. I also have the ability to auto save these so they get generated automatically. Like I said before, of the livestock system, we have a great starting point for our reports, but we're constantly growing these and constantly adding more. That's pretty much a basic overview of the mill side. As previously stated, working with the mill module, you are able to order feed for customers, have our system automatically send the information to your feed mill, and after your feed mill completes the order, we are able to process that information and bill it out to the appropriate customers. Thank you for taking time out of your day to review all the different services that SmartFarm Systems provides. If you'd like any further information, please feel free to email us or find further information on our website. Thanks and have a great day.